CM Punk, welcome to Pop Alternative. Thank you so much for your time, man.
Thank you for having me. Appreciate you.
You know, I always find it so interesting when there's a TV show or a movie that has original source material, right? We all love the comic revival, and this is the live action show on Syfy. And I find it interesting, right? Because you're obviously going to think about the comic book a lot, but it's not the comic book, it's the live action series. So did it feel like a ping pong match a little bit when you were filming this, where you want to do it justice, but were you just focusing on the live action, or did you think about the comic a lot?
I think this is pretty tight to the source material. But I'm so sporadic in my comic book reading, and deadlines sometimes aren't often met. So I'll miss some things. I'll miss trade paperbacks here and there.
Yeah.
But I was pretty caught up on Revival. I think this is pretty close to the source material, especially in this day and age when we get so far away from most source material. I didn't feel a pull. I didn't feel I was ping-ponged in between, the source material or trying to do something different or to spin it my certain way. I think the character I play was pretty straightforward in the book, and it translated to the silver screen.
Yeah, absolutely. Perfect segue to my next question. It's almost like you knew what I was going to ask. That's awesome.
I'm a professional.
It's such a cool feeling getting these scripts and then seeing it come to life while you get to production, right? So like, what was that like for you, getting these scripts, seeing what Tony was up to, but then actually like getting there and seeing it? That's a whole different ballgame in a lot of ways.
It is a different ball game. It was also a super learning experience for me on this project. This is the first time that I've worked a television show with two crews shooting simultaneously, which I wouldn't want to be an AD on this project trying to do the math to figure out who has to be where at what time. So they were shooting scenes for other episodes like across the way while we were shooting this. Two different directors working simultaneously, essentially filming different parts. Everything gets shot out of order too. So it was a little disorienting, me shooting. I think I was on set for 2 days, but the one day I was essentially shooting 3 different parts for 3 different episodes. So there's a lot of wardrobe changes, a lot of running back to the trailer, putting this on, can't wear this. This is covered in blood. Need a new one of these. But everything's an adventure, right? And I just took it in stride as this is what we're doing. But to get back to the question and the point, the source material, it's almost source material be damned when you're on set and the director yells action. They're the ones that are in charge. They're the boss. So we're doing what's on the page for the script and not necessarily comic book. But I didn't really find that there was too much of a difference.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And my filmmaker hat kind of thinks about things like this when I ask you this question. But, we're going to see some scenes where Tony's on the phone figuring things out, and that might be like a 2-3 minute runtime scene for the audience, right? But I know that there are some scenes that might have taken the whole day or two to film. You know what I mean? So when those scenes happen, those big scenes, do they feel like their own mini movie or mini project, or do they overall feel like part of Revival?
Oh no, it's one part of the puzzle. It's a small piece of a bigger picture. I just feel fortunate to be able to be involved in such a project like this, because everybody is so talented on the screen. Meeting all these actors and actresses and then getting to work with them, and it's a whirlwind. Hi, how you doing? This is who I am. Nice to meet you. And then you shoot a scene for 8 hours. So it's a lot, but it's just so much damn fun being on this set.
There was obviously this opportunity. There was obviously opportunities where you as CM Punk like going to act in TV shows and movies, and I feel like it's very interesting because there's a lot of kind of Revival, Jacob's Ladder, Girl on the Third Floor. These are very dark horror kind of esque worlds and everything. Were you hoping those were the projects you were going to want to work on, or did that kind of just happen for you?
I think the universe provides. I think it's my wheelhouse. I mean, my Christmas movie since I was 8 years old was Texas Chainsaw Massacre. It's just the things that were forbidden to me when I was a kid. Can't watch that. You had to walk into a special section of the video store to rent stuff, and I would always rent movies based on box art. So the wilder, crazier looking it was, the Maniac with a Chainsaw, that's the movie I'm renting.
Yep.
So it's always just been my favorite genre, and I haven't necessarily actively searched solely just to play in the horror genre. It's just like I said, the universe provides. That must be my energy. This horrific
Oh yeah.
type. If you told me I was only going to do horror movies for the rest of my life, I'd be okay with it.
I would be okay
100%.
with that too. I'm a horror movie filmmaker as well. I love that. I'm a 1991, right? So for me, like House of Wax, Amityville Horror, those are the first ones I was able to see in the theaters, and it was like the coolest thing.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Like, what was cooler than
Sure.
that? You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
No, there's different ways to scare people. It's an amazing genre. I'm really excited to ask you this question in regards to Revival, because I know when you're in the ring in the WWE, you kind of like think about the audience a lot because the audience is there and everything. But I know you try not to from an acting perspective. You're in the moment and everything. But given that this show is your edge of your seat kind of moment, what's going to happen with everything and the Revival list and everything, are you ever conscious of the audience member watching the Revival while you're making it? Or is that something that happens a little bit after you wrap it?
No, that's way after. Like, I haven't seen this episode. This is it's a very Phil forward episode. A lot of CM Punk in this one. Yeah. I've been told it's great. I've been told by a lot of people I love and respect that I did a really good job, but I haven't seen it, so I can't comment on it. I just know it was fun filming it. But you don't think about, you know, who's going to be sitting where watching this. You just think about getting it made and making it the best you can possibly make it.
Absolutely. When you work on stuff from an acting perspective that is wrestling themed, like when you worked on Heels, does that mindset change a little bit because you know that world a little bit more compared to like a horror movie world, or is it kind of different as well?
A little bit, definitely. You know, like I can't really talk as Anthony Check and say, well, you know, I kind of sold some black market organs, you know, so this is that he wouldn't say that. He would do this. When I was Ricky Rabies, I 100% could say, hey, I don't think XYZ. I think they would do this, and they were very receptive. The Heels cast and crew was amazing. They would shoot stuff that had nothing to do with me, and then they would look at me, and I'd be like, what are you looking at me for? And they'd be like, well, what do you think? You came from that world. We want this to be authentic. So it was a really collaborative experience. Love all those guys.
Getting back to what we were saying about horror movies, this is the genre right now, though. We like grew up, we enjoyed it. We were kind of, you know, ahead of the crowd a little bit, which I'm happy. I'm really proud to say, you know what I mean? Because now these are like the biggest movies that come out now, man. Which is crazy. Do you think it has to also do with the global access of content and the fact that like there's different ways to scare people and it's like innovated? Like, do you think that has to do with that a little bit as well?
I mean, I think horror is always going to have a hardcore fan base because there's so many different types. There's psychological, there's the physical, there's the people that are into the gore and the splatter, and I love all of it. So I just think there's a formula for a rom-com, and that's the formula for a rom-com. Yep. There's no set formula for horror because, like I said, there's cosmic horror, there's existential, there's, you know, what's living in the sewer, there's undead zombies, there's aliens. There's so much that can be done with horror, and I find that to be ironic because horror I find to be the most socially conscious genre, always has something to say about topical stuff and like what's going on, and I think Revival's no different.
Absolutely. I am also, you know, a huge pro wrestling fan. I'm a big horror movie fan, pro wrestling fan, and heavy metal fan. And I think the reason why I love all three of those things,
a man of culture.
Well, I think because every time I participate in those kind of activities, I feel like I'm on a roller coaster. Like it's all like energy, right? If you think about it. And I feel like I wanted to ask you this because I love pro wrestling because it's many different things. It's not just one thing. It's not just sports. It's not just spectacle. It's crowds. It's funny. It's sad. It's, you know, cross promotion of like athletes, music. It's so many things. Is that one of your, when you were growing up watching as a fan and then you got into in the indie circuits, is that one thing that got you wanting to maybe be a professional wrestler, that it was a lot of things? Because it is a lot of things, I find.
You know, I think it was more distilled for me. I think I literally just saw these guys bigger than life talking trash, and in my mind they were on television, so they were all like billionaires, and I was like, that's my ticket out. Like that's what I do when I go to school every day. I do that. I'm not the biggest dude in the school. I talk the trash. Like okay, I can do that. So I kind of saw that as like, I saw myself in a Roddy Piper, and that was like my representation, you know, short white guy, big mouth, chip on his shoulder. And I was like, oh, cool. It just so happens that, yeah, you're right. You know, I think wrestling is one of the few things that American culture has given to the world. Not saying it was solely created here, you know, wrestling's big all over, but it really was refined in America. You know, Memphis wrestling invented by the Welches and the Fullers, you know, like in Tennessee and fucking the 1900s, like that's kind of like the basis for all this stuff. And now it's just pop culture. So you said, so there's you know, we got Jelly Roll coming up at SummerSlam. We got, I think, is it Cardi B who's hosting SummerSlam? I want to meet Cardi B. I'm excited. This is gonna be fun. Yeah, it's everything.
Absolutely. And there's everything in Revival on Syfy, so they could check that out because you do an amazing job
That's
of Tony
true.
in that. Phil, we're changing it up, like you said. It was an honor and privilege to speak with you. Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it.
I appreciate you. Thank you very much, Petey.
Thanks.
Thank you for tuning in to Popternative. Make sure to check out our past episodes of Popternative on YouTube.
This has been an Autograph Communications production.